This is the big event for our company and one of the signature events for the industry that is perhaps most prominent in Louisiana. There are 25,000 farms in our state, and it is the largest industry in Louisiana, and people come once a year to honor 34 inductees so far in the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Fame, and 3 very special people tonight. Well, farmers have a tough time, as we know. It's not a job that many people can do or want to do, but those who do it without a lot of fanfare, and that's the result of that we think this is a really special event because we honor those who are kind of the offensive linemen when it comes to what's going on in our world. And as my friend Don Molino says, if you eat today, thank a farmer. And the industry, as we know, is going to be here. We can't survive without farming, but we probably need to have more attention and more sustenance to make it what it should be and can be. And in Louisiana, nothing is bigger than the agriculture industry. I'm Jim Inkster, the president of Louisiana Radio Network and Tiger Rag Magazine, the Bible of LSU sports. And this event has been presented by us and by the LSU Ag Center and the Department of Agriculture and the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation now in one iteration or another for the last 27 years. It started with Farmer of the Year in 1998. We were at Lod Cook for 9 years, and then we were at John Folse's it was the White Oak Plantation. Yeah, White Oak Plantation for 9 years, and now for the last 9 years, we have been at LaBerge, and Kyle Coates from our staff is responsible for us being here, and this is a great venue, and people are always comfortable, and we'll leave in a couple of hours. We won't extend the evening too long, and I'm sure you will have appreciated the people who are honored and the people in the audience who are involved in the most significant industry in the state of Louisiana, with more than 25,000 family farms on a person basis. This is the biggest industry in the state of Louisiana, and quite often people who are farmers and in the agriculture industry do not receive the fanfare, the accolades, or the attention they richly deserve. So this is a signature event for our company and also a major event for the agriculture industry, and we have 3 remarkable inductees tonight.
As Jim mentioned, a key part of our network are the radio stations that air our programming, because without them we wouldn't be able to pass on soybean prices or how much cattle is selling for. And we honor one of our affiliates every year, and to tell you about that affiliate, here's a good friend of mine, our News, Sports, and Affiliate Relations Director, Jeff Palermo.
Louisiana Radio Network supplies news, sports, weather, and agriculture news to some 50 affiliates around the state. We provide stations with the local news that really matters to them. I've been the news director at Louisiana Radio Network now for a couple of decades. I've handled affiliate relations for the last several years, and that's really given me an opportunity to know our affiliates better. And one of our long-standing ag affiliates is KDBH in Natchitoches. They're owned by Ted Dumas. Mr. Dumas owns 8 stations on the western side of the state, and KDBH has been an ag affiliate for the Louisiana Radio Network since 1989. Because of KDBH's commitment to the Louisiana Radio Network, our Farm Reports, which provide essential information, is heard by hundreds of folks in the agriculture business in Northwest Louisiana on a daily basis. So tonight, we recognize Ted Dumas as the Voice of Louisiana Agriculture Radio Network Affiliate of the Year for helping us spread the information the farmers need to provide the food we eat today. Now, unfortunately, Ted cannot be with us tonight, but if you can please give a round of applause to their commitment to local radio.
Jim Harper is not only the president of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, but he is a farmer and an outstanding one. Both he and his brother Ross farm land up there in Cheneyville in Rapides Parish. They grow sugarcane, soybeans, rice, and crawfish. And with that kind of diversity, you have to absolutely make sure you have everything penciling out. I remember right whenever Mr. Harper became president, I went over to his farm, and I wanted to have that heart-to-heart with him because this is going to be my boss now, okay? I want to make sure I'm taking care of you, and I'm doing the job you want me to do. And he told me the story about his father said, everything has to pencil out. If it doesn't pencil out, you don't do it. And that's the kind of mindset he's had with the Louisiana Farm Bureau and why it is as successful as it is today. So with no further ado, I call up my boss, Mr. Jim Harper.
I'd like to thank Louisiana Radio Network, the Department of Ag and Forestry, and the LSU Ag Center for making this possible. I'd like to congratulate this year's inductees, Dr. Ralph Abraham. Dr. Abraham was my congressman from the 5th District. I remember the first time I met you in Alexandria when you were first running for Congress. It was a pleasure to work with you the years you were in Congress. You were always a great ally of ours, and you always looked out for Louisiana agriculture. One of the things I remember the most, when you would go to his office in Washington, he had a sign up, and it said, if you were a farmer, you don't need an appointment, come in. And that always kind of stuck with me. So congratulations, Doc. Steve Crawford, he was a weed scientist for the LSU Ag Center. When I got out of LSU and went back to the family farm, I would go to the Extension Service meetings, and Steve Crawford was the weed scientist. And he would present, what was the latest weed control for cotton and corn and soybeans. And a few years later, the concept of minimum tillage was starting, and he was one of the first ones that taught me what kind of products to use and how to get started with that. He's helped a lot of farmers across the state, and he's still helping them. Congratulations. Dr. Leodra Williams has given 50 years of service to Louisiana agriculture. He has quite a legacy. He started out in Richland Parish, and he worked his way up to become Chancellor of the Southern University Ag Center and has made it into the fine institution it is today. Thank you for your service. And all of you are deserving for this honor. Thank y'all so much. And thank y'all again.
Before I go any further, I would like all of the inductees into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction to stand and be recognized. I know we got some in the audience. Every morning I talk to our Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry. Well, I don't talk, I listen. So without further ado, Dr. Mike Stray.
But I want to spend just a few minutes with you and really to talk about Dr. Abraham, Steve Crawford, and Dr. Leodra Williams. And to impress upon you what I believe the fundamental duty of mankind is to feed the world. When you looked at what is going on, where we're at, and as Don says, as you're out and about today, if you ate today, don't forget to thank a farmer. We are here again to be mindful. Here in Louisiana, where the good things grow. Tonight we're going to celebrate and acknowledge the best of the best. It is important that we do so. These men have spent their lives in the service of others. We celebrate their lives, their accomplishments, their dreams, and their visions. We do this to honor them. But we also do it so that we can all understand their journeys. and attempt to emulate them in our own lives and to further encourage others to do so. The fundamental duty of mankind is to feed the world. That has never been more true than it is today, here, and now. You've heard me talk in previous years about reaching the Rubicon on production versus consumption. We've crossed that Rubicon. The survival of our very world, our nation, our civilization, is truly in the hands of our farmers. How many people today have food on their table simply by the fact that these men have lived and excelled in their accomplishments? Let's think about the converse. What would the world be like had they not ever been born? Dr. Abraham, my good friend, a veteran, a veterinarian, large animal practitioner, a physician, yes, a true Renaissance man, I can tell you, a congressman for the largest row crop district in America, and now Secretary of the Department of Health and Hospitals. A life well lived, and much more to go. Steve Crawford, a weed scientist, a crop consultant, 25 years in research, the Ag Center, developing effective weed control, one of the most important things in the world. Plant growth regulators, harvest dates, corn, cotton, soybeans, and rice. His goal to increase profitability and productivity of farmers across the South. Still going strong and still consulting at age 78. I hope I'm that strong at 78, on over 400,000 acres. Dr. Leodre Williams, also my friend, a veteran, a long-time Southern administrator. Started off as an extension agent, rose through the ranks to the administrator of Southern University Cooperative Extension Service. What a tremendous, tremendous job. Appointed chancellor and retired, and again until 2015. Their service cannot be underestimated. Lifetime of service. The question is, who in the future will stand up and take their places, dedicating their lives to service? Our world is indeed getting hungry. It is not simply enough to be a good farmer. We must be innovative. We must push the envelope of science and technology. We must push ourselves to overachieve in order that untold millions of people will simply have enough food as to not to go to bed hungry at night. The fundamental duty of mankind is to feed the world. 2 weeks ago, I was in Cuba. I'd been in 2016 several times, found a nation desperately needing and struggling to feed its people. We were there on a diplomatic mission to see firsthand a group of 7 ag commissioners what is going on. It was funded by the federal government with the blessing of the State Department. Looking at the changes, I can tell you that in 2016 they were talking about going to a market economy. They are moving there now. About half of the land that's arable is being farmed. Half is not. They have 80% of the arable land is in private hands, 400,000 farmers, almost 400 cooperatives. No fertilizer, no herbicides, no pesticides, very limited expertise, no equipment. To see the faces of hunger 90 miles off the coast of the United States. Ration cards being decreased and reduced because the government simply doesn't have the food to put into the government stores. Everywhere we went, the Cuban people were proud to feed us, to provide us coffee and chocolates and sweets and fresh fruit. One day we went to a privately owned farmers cooperative. They are pulling a turning plow with 2 bulls, tilling the earth with bulls. They had no other equipment. They had made worm gardens to create nitrogen for their vegetables. They asked us to join them for lunch. Can't say no. They prepared a table for us, the head of the cooperative, and our team. They provided us fresh salad from the garden, rice and beans, fresh fruit, and a fully baked chicken leg quarter. More rice, chicken, beans, and food than they would eat in a week. As others looked on, we ate everything on our plates. knowing full well their sacrifice to provide what for us would be considered a routine meal. We looked at each other, fully knowing what we felt but could not say. The head of the co-op discreetly placed his chicken on a plate and slid it behind him to a woman sitting behind him. I think it was his wife. Let us not look idly on as others now do without. Let our hearts fill not with pity but with hope and enthusiasm. Let us lead as these gentlemen have before us. Let us not simply live for the day, but rather to achieve greater things and spend each day truly making a difference. That's why we're here. We're here to honor these men and to recognize them, but to emulate them and to encourage others to build upon their legacies. The fundamental duty of mankind is to feed the world. Thank you.
Everybody, welcome to the 11th Annual Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction ceremony. It is really an honor for the LSU Ag Center to be a sponsor of this event as we come together to recognize such accomplished and respected leaders in the field of agriculture. LSU and the Ag Center applaud their accomplishments, and we work every day to help ensure that we are educating the next generation of agricultural innovators and leaders for our state that will stand on the shoulders of these giants that we recognize here tonight. The past 19 months of serving as the Vice President of Agriculture and the Dean of the College of Agriculture has been for me the most challenging, exciting, invigorating, and rewarding period of my professional career. Louisiana agriculture, unlike any other space in which I've worked, is truly a community that supports each other to grow the industry for the future of our state, our nation, and as Dr. Strain was just noting, the world. Over the past year in the Ag Center, our structure and operations have been intensively reviewed with an eye toward enhancing our ability to support and serve those in the state. So we've set a variety of changes in motion, many of which you have all heard about. We've reinstated the positions of the director for the Louisiana Agricultural Experiment Station and also the Louisiana Cooperative Extension Service, appointing Dr. Selassie as our director of the Experiment Station and Dr. Smith to these roles respectively. Under their leadership, a robust administrative framework has been established, which is fostering collaboration through the development of more integrated programs and partnerships. And on a side note, as we toured the nation looking at other agricultural programs at other universities, one of the things that we discovered was that a unique strength that we enjoy here in Louisiana is that our experiment station and research activity is very tightly integrated with our cooperative extension service, which is not a characteristic that you see in many other states. That is one of the things that allows us to leverage innovation, and ensure that we deliver that to our producers throughout the state in a very timely manner. Agriculture has been identified by President Tate at LSU as a top priority of the LSU system. And to advance this priority, the Ag Center is working to expand research opportunities in key areas through the creation of centers of excellence, which focus on research and extension programs that will help address productivity, profitability, stability, sustainability, and the availability of products and services in the food and fiber sectors. We want to be one of the leading agricultural universities in the country. To that end, we're very proud of the fact that last fall, the National Science Foundation published a report in which they ranked 324 colleges and universities in agricultural sciences, and we're very proud of the fact that LSU ranked 15th out of those 324, and that's excellent, but we're looking to serve you better by getting into the top 10, and we're going to work very hard to do that. The future of Louisiana agriculture is on a firm foundation because of the many dedicated producers and businesses that work tirelessly, year-round to ensure its success. So thank you, everyone, for participating in the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction, which recognizes individuals in an industry and culture that feeds, clothes, and houses the world. So now let's get down to business. While we all came here, let's get ready to present our inductees. So the way this will work is I will read some remarks about each inductee. We will then watch a short video on them, and then they will be invited up to receive their recognition and make some remarks, if they so choose. Our first inductee tonight has worn many hats: a veterinarian, a medical doctor, a pilot, U.S. congressman, and now a cabinet position in Governor Jeff Landry's administration. Ralph Abraham was raised in Richland Parish on a family farm covered in row crops and numerous farm animals. His first career was being a vet for 10 years, a job you could say he had a natural gift for. When he saw the need for medical care in his community, he answered that call. He graduated from medical school and opened up a family medical practice, one he still maintains today in Rayville. When given the opportunity to serve the residents of Louisiana's 5th Congressional District, the largest row crop district in America, as we noted earlier, Abraham answered that call too. Some say Dr. Abraham was making a house call with his successful campaign. Now Abraham has answered another call to serve as Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health. Ralph Abraham has served the pets and people throughout the 5th Congressional District and is now working on improving the health of all Louisiana residents. Let's watch Ralph Abraham tell his story.
Growing up just inside Richland Parish near the Franklin Parish line, Ralph Abraham was surrounded by crops and animals. This early introduction to the farming life helped shape a career that included being a vet, a doctor, a helicopter pilot, a congressman, and now Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health.
It influenced me early, certainly pushed me toward a career in veterinary medicine. But as we all know, farming in any community, but especially in a Louisiana community, it's the heartbeat of everyone. It's difficult, and most people, unless they've lived that life, they have no clue what it takes to put a crop in the ground, raise a calf from a cow. It's hard. I can't stress how important it was for me growing up in that type of environment.
Becoming a veterinarian was a good fit for Abraham. Caring for animals was an acquired and necessary skill for him on the farm, and he was good at it.
We had to do it on ourselves. Money was always an issue, and of course, back in those days, you just tried to do it yourself. And so we learned how to do it, and I developed a passion for helping that particular animal, and somewhat had a knack for it, so that's where I went.
Seeing the lack of medical care for people in his rural community, Abraham set his sights on becoming a family doctor. He went from taking care of pets to caring for their owners.
You know, I've never really met anybody that wanted to be poor. I've never met anybody that wanted to be unhealthy. But unfortunately, in Louisiana, we sometimes have both of those in the same individual. So that's something that I noticed, latched onto, and said, hey, you know, maybe we can also make an impact in our local community. And that's why I went back into the human field, and I certainly enjoy that too.
The next challenge taken on by Abraham was being elected congressman for the 5th Congressional District, the largest agricultural district in the country.
When a farmer or rancher would call with an issue, whether it be a natural disaster or something maybe not quite as severe, they understood that I understood what they were talking about. Yeah, we talk the same language. We've got to protect our farmers, our ranchers, our growers, our cattlemen, you name it. If they touch agriculture, and so many people do, they need to have a seat at the table.
One of his largest tasks in Washington was ushering in a new farm bill.
Like any large project, you keep just treading the water, and it eventually comes together. So it's truly a marathon process to put any bill together, but when you're talking about the farm bill, because it touches everyone's life in one form or another, it's a pretty massive undertaking, but we got it done.
If Ralph Abraham would have grown up in the 15th century, he would almost certainly be considered a Renaissance man. But tonight, he's being lauded for a truly remarkable career and is one of the newest inductees into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction.
For me, it's one of my most distinct honors. You know, in Congress and all through my life, we've had a few things thrown at us, awards and honors, but this is probably one of the top one or two. Again, I go back to where my roots are as a child, and from that child to now an older adult, to have this award bestowed on me, it's a big deal for me.
Dr. Abraham, come on up.
Thank you again. I truly meant it when I said that this is probably the most prestigious and the thing that I'm most proud of that I've received in my life. In Congress, you have a big microphone, and every chance I got, I carried the same message that the Louisiana farmer or rancher, the American farmer or rancher, they're not only our national treasure, but they're national security, because food security is national security. And if we forget that message, then things can go south very bad. On a side note, for Jeff and Don and Avery and Ted, it's so refreshing to have reporters that continue to have integrity, that continue to have honesty, whose job it is to ask the hard question, and they did when they would interview me, but they asked the fair question. They didn't ask the gotcha question, which unfortunately up in the arena, the political arena that we live in, that's the type of question that we often get. So to all those that report for the Louisiana Farm Network and who I've had the honor to give interviews to and talk to, just a heartfelt thanks for doing your job the right way. I appreciate old friends that I've seen here tonight that I haven't seen for a few years. To Dr. Strain, you couldn't ask for a better comrade in arms. We look forward to working with his department, with the Louisiana Department of Health. We have so much of the areas that overlap, both on the agriculture and forestry and the LDH side. So it's going to be a fun ride. We look forward to serving Louisiana again in a good way. And as I said in the little video, we have the ability now, we have the resources, we have a wonderful governor that understands what Louisiana needs and wants, and we can truly impact lives as we move this state forward. So thank you again. You really have touched my heart, and it is very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Our next inductee probably would not be here tonight if a lost letter had not been found. Steve Crawford grew up in Catahoula Parish in a house he still resides in today. He's married to the valedictorian of his high school class, making him the second smartest person in his household. After graduating from Louisiana Tech, Crawford found himself in New Orleans working for Louisiana Power and Light. Then the letter was found. He had been accepted into graduate school at LSU, and he made the decision to seek his master's degree. After graduation, he got the opportunity to work at the best place in the world, the LSU Ag Center at the Northeast Research Station. It was here he fell in love with the science of agriculture. He began his work at the St. Joseph Station that earned him a reputation as an expert in weed science. Upon retirement, he launched a second career as a crop consultant. At 78, Crawford is still actively serving his clientele and improving their bottom lines. To see how Steve Crawford is increasing the profitability and productivity of Louisiana agriculture, let's watch and discover some of his career accomplishments.
As a native of Catahoula Parish and a graduate of Sicily Island High School, Steve Crawford has been immersed in agriculture nearly his entire life. His career has led him from being a weed scientist with the LSU Ag Center to a certified crop consultant, serving numerous clients in Northeast Louisiana.
Well, actually, I grew up on a farm on the bank of the Tensas River in Catahoula Parish, where I actually live now in the house that I grew up in. So I was always close to agriculture and had an interest in it. Then things progressed through education so that some opportunities came available that really led me down the path to staying in agriculture for basically a lifetime.
Oh, I am doing a video with the Ag Center right now. It is. I can't get rid of them. Go ahead.
One of his early career stops was at the Ag Center's Northeast Research Station. He enjoyed the science side of agriculture and the people he worked with there. The way farmers farmed was changing, and Crawford played a role in making farming more sustainable, more productive, and more profitable.
The programs that we developed to convert Louisiana agriculture in the north part of the state from a conventional tillage to a stale seedbed, no tillage type approach to farming. That's the greatest accomplishment. And then crop management as far as plant growth regulators and harvest aids. This is a bitter cress. Hen bit, it's a problem throughout the season. So we utilize these burn down herbicides that kill the hen bit that's up, but then provide residual control of it.
Crawford is recognized as an expert in controlling weeds. He helped develop mixture rates for selected chemicals used to rid fields of problematic weeds. Getting farmers to adopt his recommendations was one way for Crawford to help farmers stay in business.
You know, I would say okay, he's got 1.5 in the worst case. Tell him to do another ounce.
It's all about profitability. You know, one of my commitments when I wrote projects, key phrase, increase productivity and profitability. You know, one of the things I learned over the years is you can't, as a farmer, save your way to prosperity, but we work toward increasing productivity and profitability. And
I thought you might go plant rice there since it was flat. It's doing good. He's still taking pictures of me working, you see, so I'm about to get rid of him. Thank you.
Crawford will admit to having a want to be needed. That's why he is almost certain to answer the phone when it rings, regardless if he recognizes the number or not. He believes if you call him with a problem, it's his job to solve it.
Well, 99 out of 100 times I'll take the call, unless it says it's spam. And I guess the worst thing that ever happens is when a client calls in the middle of Jeopardy. That's one commitment that Joyce and I have, is we're going to watch Jeopardy every day. So when somebody calls in the middle of Jeopardy, that's kind of a crisis. But if it's one of my clients, I'll take it for dang sure. So my mission has always been to find a circuitous route so I can go from farm to farm without having to backtrack. But I've gotten stuck a few times.
At 78, Crawford is showing no signs of slowing down. He is still challenged to create recommendations for nearly 40,000 acres of cropland and help with decisions as to what crops to grow in a changing economic climate.
Okay. Real life work. Absolutely. They ran out of people to put in the Hall of Distinction, the Agriculture Hall of Distinction, and damn it, here they came.
It's nice to be recognized. It's truly wonderful to be recognized. But on the other hand, I don't know that I deserve to be recognized. That's just part of it. But it's a blessing, And, you know, we'll keep on keeping on. People talk about retirement. I don't understand retirement.
Mr. Crawford, come on up.
I know it's past Don Molino's bedtime and damn sure past mine, so I'm going to move right along. But so I get the groups right. I'd like to thank the Ag Center, the Louisiana Radio Network, the Louisiana Farm Bureau, and the Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry for bestowing this great honor on me. Also, of course, like to thank my family for supporting me over the years. I have to circle back a little bit. Dr. Lee, you won't understand. When I left Baton Rouge and went to the Northeast Research Station, it was antiquated. We'd gotten rid of the mules, but that was about it. But, you know, there was a movie called Field of Dreams. It said, build them and they'll come. Well, that is true in many respects. We started off at ground zero. I was with the Ag Center, or actually Department of Ag at that time, for about 12 years before I had a research associate, so I spent a lot of time in the field. But anyway, few people started coming to me to evaluate potential new herbicides, plant growth regulators, and harvest aids. And the next thing I knew, I was dealing with 25 or 30 different companies from all over the world. Japan, Korea, Western Europe, the UK, and of course the US, some South American. So we went through a tremendous number of herbicides and plant growth regulators and harvest aids over the years to develop programs to improve the productivity and profitability of the local growers and to branch out around the world. You know, I'm not any selective in who I would like to help. I'm kind of like Dr. Strange says, to feed the world. But, you know, putting it all together was a key. I'll never forget one of the previous inductees, Mr. Ray Young. He came to the experiment station and he said, we need to look at some of these burn down herbicides that you're doing. Well, we went out in the field and we saw some dead weeds. He said, man, Steve, we know how to kill these eater weeds. We need to know how to kill the bad weeds. So I was really more like a joint appointment person, not just research, but I had a great deal of extension type experience, although I wasn't officially a joint appointment. But so we took to the field and we did an awful lot of off-station research to identify the problems, to build programs to deal with them. And really, that's been the key to what level of success I've had. I've mentored people in industry. Mallory Lansing here that's at our table tonight, she works for a chemical company in the area. I've mentored her over the years, several other young people in companies that I've mentored. So it's been a tremendous blessing, and the good Lord has really blessed me to be able to serve people and to work with people. Thank you very much.
Our final inductee tonight has made his presence known in agriculture throughout Louisiana, the United States, and internationally for nearly 60 years. Leaudrey Williams' story begins in Wilkinson County, Mississippi, but fortunately for Louisiana agriculture, his parents had the good sense to move a couple miles south into West Feliciana Parish. Williams has worked for both the LSU and Southern University Extension Services. His first job with the Extension Service was in 1965 in North Louisiana, working primarily with cotton and soybean farmers. To help these farmers supplement their incomes, he worked tirelessly to help them establish vegetable gardens for personal use and commercial sales. When he began this appointment, he was the last extension agent in America to hold the title of Assistant County Agent for work with Negro farmers. This title was changed 6 weeks after he started. Most of you know Williams from his work as Extension Director and Chancellor for the Southern University Agricultural Research and Extension Center, a position he retired from in 2015. Leaudrey Williams has made significant contributions to Louisiana agriculture, and here are some of the highlights.
While Leaudrey Williams was born in Mississippi, It was his success in Louisiana through extension work and as an administrator that paved his way into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction. He learned growing up that working in agriculture was difficult, but it would lay the foundation for a memorable career.
The only thing we had was agriculture. We lived agriculture, and not in any big way, because we had horse, mule type farm, but we had no mechanical farm whatsoever at that time.
In 1965, Williams began work as an extension agent and found himself in North Louisiana. His assignment had him working with cotton and soybean farmers, but Williams believed it was essential for people he served to get involved in producing vegetables to supplement their income and as a food source.
But it was a big effort for that particular family, having some income when nothing else was coming in.
We have to let each other grow.
And I went to this farmer's house, and then I started looking at his garden and talking and admiring what he had. I said, all your neighbors, all your people, friends have gone like, oh no, nobody. I said, well, see, then you need to help me, help them. We use this kind of approach in getting people to help, and it makes the whole community better.
That was the hardest job I ever had to lead, lowest level, the county level.
Williams was driven to help others, and that drive took him to many far and away places. He saw these international trips as an opportunity to share his knowledge of agriculture and assist people who were in great need of knowledge related to crop production.
It was so successful, we started getting international programs with different governments like Sierra Leone, later on Liberia. So it was a good combination of working and growing and helping others. And that was my whole idea in the beginning, was helping.
It's one of the best leaders in these countries, as well as dealing with the HBCU University.
Don't get any better than him, huh?
Well, beside me, nobody else.
In 2001, Williams was appointed to lead the newest campus of the Southern University system, the Southern University Agricultural Research and Extension Center. Getting it established was a monumental task, but Williams knew it would see great dividends.
That was great, because we were looking at growth. Having these multiple campuses put you in touch with more people. We had staff in every parish of the state. We didn't have near that many, but you were still in multiple locations in the state. So it helped get educational programs and involvement in various locations.
And we were able to help people, and they show appreciation.
Appreciate who you are today, 'cause this life that you have is not yours. Appreciate everything about you, no matter situation.
Leaudrey Williams dedicated more than 50 years of service strengthening agriculture in Louisiana, the nation, and abroad. He didn't seek recognition, but was motivated by the fact that he simply wanted to help others succeed in life through agricultural endeavors.
This is recognition of what a difference you can make without even by doing the right thing. It's always good to be recognized, to make contributions, and to have those contributions recognized. And for this, I'm grateful for.
Good evening.
and thank you so much for this honor. Thank all of you for being here. It's been a long journey. In a couple of months, I'll be 87 years old. I'm not only the oldest person in my family, both my mother's side, my father's side. I'm the oldest member of my church, and I'm the oldest member in this house here tonight. But I'm still here. My grandson goes to Liberty High School. He's in the ROTC program. And every year for Veterans Day, they have comments from the oldest veteran in the audience. I was the oldest veteran there this year, and it's my intention to be the oldest veteran next year. But agriculture is so important to all of us. I just can't see anyone not understanding that. A former president and the person who appointed me extension administrator at Southern was Dr. Jesse Stone. Some of you may remember him. He was an attorney. And at a meeting of Council of Presidents and Chancellors, he didn't always go the route of everybody else. The presidents and chancellors were discussing some things, and he just didn't agree with it, and he expressed that. And the chairman of that group told him, said, well, Dr. Stone said, the reason you think the way you do, said, you are not an academician. So you're a lawyer. And Dr. Stone was quick on his feet. He said, yeah, I realize all of you are not lawyers, but you are all presidents and chancellors. And all presidents and chancellors should be able to think. And that shut them up. So that's the way I feel about agriculture. You'll see people putting agriculture down, or even cutting off agricultural speakers, or people who are high on agriculture, family and consumer sciences, these kind of things. And the way I look at it, if you're a professional in the agricultural community, you're not too far from being anything you want to be. And that's the way I see it. You see people who can't get enough to eat, and at the same time they're criticizing agriculture with their mouth full. You know, that's not the way it is. I have gone places where you have to stand at the what would be a supermarket, waiting for somebody to bring something in for you to buy, to eat. I was in Sierra Leone. The head of a project we had over there was sponsored by Southern and LSU. And they wanted to know if I could make gumbo. And I said, yes, I can make gumbo. I had to stop 2 or 3 people with pans on their head to buy enough okra to put in the gumbo. One of the most helpful things you can do to international visitors sometimes is to take them to a supermarket in America. Take them to one of our major supermarkets. They're just astonished to see the food. The same area we're looking at every day in the news in Ukraine. If we go in there, looking at people, how they handle the food. You're standing there waiting for, you want to buy a roast, and you're waiting for someone to come in with axe or some kind of chopping instrument to chop off what you think is 6 pounds or whatever it is that you want to buy. things we take for granted, the way the food is handled, you know, it's just amazing. The Secretary of Agriculture once, I was on a trip in St. Thomas. I get an email from the secretary saying he wanted me to represent him at a meeting in Oklahoma. It was about wool, mohair, and cashmere. That was a hot political issue at the time. He sent me the speech. I went there, and while I was on stage talking about agriculture, a young man from Procter & Gamble family came on stage and wanted to know if I would come to Montana to speak to his high school father-son, mother-daughter banquet. Some of you know what I'm talking about, in agriculture and family and consumer sciences and home economics. And I did it. So how many of you have been to the home base of Procter & Gamble? Procter & Gamble is people who make your Tide washing powder. All that comes out of there. Or have gone to their campsite. The only time I've ever gone fly fishing was at their camp of Procter & Gamble. Now that's something I got on most of you. But the opportunities that come to people, to everybody, because it's inclusive. The commissioner mentioned tonight about how wide agriculture is. They said there are only 3 groups of people who don't need agriculture. Those who do not wear clothing, those who do not live in shelters, and those who do not eat. That's a very, very small group. If you look at it, you know, we all need agriculture. And I've gone far longer than I intended to go. But I just want to thank those who made this possible. And if you ever have an opportunity to do something for agriculture, my mother used to say, okay, what I achieved, she would say, and be a good boy. So we kid a lot. And one day, I got much older, and I said, why you always say, and be a good boy? I said, when am I going to get grown? You know? And she said, let me tell you something. She said, I have a good memory. And as I remember it, I was 22 years old when you were born. And far as I know, I'm still 22 years older than you are. And as long as I'm older than you are, I'll be advising you on what to do. So when she was on her deathbed, it was the week before I was appointed administrator in Washington of Extension Service. I had gone there to assist the administrator, and a few months later, he retired. And I was appointed by the secretary to be the administrator of Extension. So I came home that weekend, I said, Mama, when I get back to Washington, I said, Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, I would be appointed the administrator of Extension at the national level. I said, that includes all of the land-grant universities, about 104, 105 of them, of all the states, universities, and all the territories in America. She said, and be a good boy. So when she explained what be a good boy meant, it meant do something to help somebody. Do something you don't absolutely have to do, but it helps somebody, and that's all of our responsibilities. Thank you.
Great job.
Congratulations, and I bring greetings on behalf of Sharon Weston Broome, the mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and the mayor president of the parish of East Baton Rouge. And you've had a long life, and this proclamation chronicles your life, so I won't read the whole thing. But she wants to congratulate you on the occasion on this March 7th of being inducted into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
And it's been a rewarding experience to receive this honor now. It's what I've been hoping for, but I didn't know I could go this far, you know, and I'm grateful for it, for just having the opportunity and to be able to accomplish some things that I'm now being recognized for.
I've kept thinking about a saying from Dr. Seuss, and it said, all the places we'll go, and I guess dating back to my time at Louisiana Tech and the meander that's taken place, you know, it's just been amazing. And again, the folks on my left and my right, they are far more deserving and professional than I've ever been. So just blessed to be here. I've told some people they must have run out of candidates.
I was blown away. I had no idea that I was even up for nomination until a good friend, brought it to my attention. And of my many awards throughout my career, this is at the top of the heap. I'm more proud of this one, I think, than any other one.
I think this is one of our better events. They're all great, but three fabulous inductees from different walks of life and from different parts of the state. And one, Ralph Abraham, manages the biggest agency in the state of Louisiana. Former congressman, has a background in farming. He was instrumental in the 2018 Farm Bill when he was in the U.S. House. Steve Crawford has been an innovator of renown, one of those people who doesn't get a lot of attention for what he has done, but he's been a major player in the industry for a generation or two. And then there's Dr. Leodre Williams, who was the first chancellor of the Southern University Ag Center. 14 years he held that post. And people may not realize it, but Baton Rouge is the only city in America with 2 land-grant universities. And it's LSU and Southern, and both have fabulous ag centers. And it's nice that Dr. Williams, who's a true Renaissance man who served his country during the Vietnam War and then served Louisiana in various capacities and has been a farming person for more than half a century, that he's getting his just due tonight.
How can people get more information?
People can go to Voice of Louisiana Agriculture, and they'll find out more about what we do. Our radio network is the preeminent radio network in the state when it comes to providing news in the agriculture community. And we partner with the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. And Don Molino and Avery Davidson and Neil Melanson, they put out a great product, and they really are parts of the life of people who are in the farming community, who rely upon them to get information that is vital to what they do.